What's motivating you is the stories I'm telling you about what I did in my life. Once I stop living that, I'm no more. I'm trying to build people up. I'm trying to armor their mind. I'm trying to get them the belief, because this world we live in is tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. It will try to take you out. It will find your weakness and it will just hammer you. If I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. So I take a lot of passion in who I am as a person. As you hear, as this podcast gets going and going and going, what you're gonna do is you're gonna transform me from this guy right now that's kind of chilled out in this room, David Goggins, to Goggins. And I had to invent this person. David Goggins is an introverted, soft kid that got beat up growing up, and mindset had to lie to create friends, to get friends, to be accepted. So my life has really been about two people. Very scary, but two people. I had to invent a whole nother human being to get outside of my comfort zone. And that human being became Goggins. Goggins is like the guy that walks out of the phone booth. He's like that Superman that walks out of the phone booth. And I was talking to my fiance today about, it's kind of strange how sometimes I have a conversation between David Goggins, and Goggins will tell David Goggins about the shit he's done. And David Goggins like, what the hell, man? Why are you doing that? That's nuts. So it's kind of this battle between trying to find more of yourself, knowing that the real you is afraid, likes comfort, likes living in a world that is that likes to pat you on the back, give you the things that you want to hear, not the things that you have to hear to get better. So that's where all this kind of started from. And when people hear this podcast, they're going to hear a lot of things that they're going to want to put a title on me. They're going to definitely want to put a title on me to make themselves feel better. I asked them during this podcast, do not do that. Do not look at what you're going to hear. Put a title on me, because basically what you're doing is you're giving yourself a get out of jail free card. Exactly. That's all you're doing. So all you're doing is saying this guy was some super freak. He found some super thing in his brain that was locked up. He unleashed it and became this guy. It's fine. Because every day I wake up, I dread the day. I dread the day of what I'm going to bring on myself to get better. Some guy said to me, you're fat and you're black. He was an observant. I became the roughest critic in the world on myself. And that's what changed me. I literally saw myself in the mirror. I saw the truth versus saying, my dad did this to me from beating me. Kids in school from calling me nigger did this to me. My life did this to me. My broken foundation did this to me. I took that and said, you know what? Well, some people may help this happen, but now I have to own this. No one's going to come back to save me. No one's going to come back on this couch and say, hey, it's okay. You're going to be okay. No, I'm not. I'm not going to be okay. I had to realize I had to take a stand. I had to make a real stand. And it was painful to look at who I was, what the world and myself created. It created a very lonely, depressed, insecure man that would do anything just to have a friend. And I saw that as very pathetic. When you look at the truth, it becomes very ugly and pathetic. Was packed full of like failures, depression, even more. But what I found out in that whole 3 months, I lived a lifetime. In that 3 months, I started realizing if I can flip these insecurities upside down, if I can flip this fear, if I can flip all this shit that made me this depressed, insecure guy, if I can flip it and make it work for me versus against me, I started seeing the power in failure, the power in insecurity, the power in self-doubt. Like the mind is the most powerful thing in the world. It is so amazing that I used to be a 300-pound guy and I thought that was it. Could barely read, could do anything. And now that what was inside that person was this guy that's in front of you today. That's how scary the mind is. And that's what I started realizing through this journey, is that once I got a taste of, wow, man, I haven't even begun to crack what the mind is capable of. And I started realizing is on the other end of suffering, that's the real growth of life, because you realize how the mind processes shit. And I talk about another thing called theory and practice. A lot of people are theorists. These smart guys that read these books and shit, man, and they sit down, they tell you what the mind is supposed to do. And a lot of us listen to that shit. It becomes like, this is it, man. This old man who has been studying the mind forever, this is the cap that we have. By being a practitioner, I went out and realized a lot of these guys are so wrong, man. The mind has capabilities that are so unknown, and I found that through suffering. And there's a whole nother world on the other end of that. The biggest trophy that I ever got in my entire life was really figuring out me. And what I realized on my journey was a lot of us don't believe that we can achieve the impossible. And along my journey, I started realizing, man, I got to tell some people about this shit, man. Like, I discovered something that some people have, but they don't even know. All of us have it. But along this way, I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't a theorist. I became a practitioner. And I was like, my God, I'm busting down so many barriers of, like, I have a learning disability. Okay, but I'm catching up with everybody. I figured that out. I figured out all these negative things in my life that were keeping me in this hole. I'm like, I gotta tell people, man, that, hang on a second, man. You can achieve the absolute impossible. You don't need great parents. You don't need like a private school. You don't need to have this humongous GPA and all this other shit. What you need is the one thing I talk about in my book, which is straight up brutal work ethic. You have to be willing to outwork everybody in the world. And that's the hard part. That's the hard part. This isn't like some 5-step process where you can do these steps, you're going to end up with this magical world. No, I'm basically teaching you how to callous over your victim's mentality. I'm teaching you how to, like, I did 67,000 pull-ups in training for the pull-up record. I was seriously callousing my hands to protect them. What I'm trying to do with people is teach them how to find more of themselves to where they empower themselves. I'm all about the underdog. So that's what the book's all about, man. It's all about having that step process, and I had to share this with people. I honestly want to be considered one of the hardest men to walk the planet Earth in the history of the world. And what I mean by hard, I'm not talking about the guy who does the most pull-ups, the most sit-ups, runs the most. Just a person who's able to overcome any adversity in front of them, to figure out a way. Hardness isn't about all this physical shit, man. Yeah, it helped me get to where I'm at. But all I was doing in the whole process, the process wasn't to be ripped. It wasn't to walk around with my shirt off. That wasn't it. I knew through the physical challenges, through the physical suffering, my mind was getting stronger. I was literally doing that for a reason. I had a weak mind. All the rest just happened to come with it. I was trying to strengthen the mind to handle all the judgment that's passed on me, perceived and not. Sometimes you make it up in your own head. You know, I just want to be able to handle all of that, everything, physical, mental. I want to be perceived as that, like an old school barbarian, an old school guy that's like, God, dog, man, nothing can hurt the guy, which is why the book is titled Can't Hurt Me. I want people to have that mantra in their life. Take that with you. Take it everywhere you go in life. And if you believe that and you work towards that, callous in your mind, strengthen yourself, can't hurt me is strong. In any situation, like when I was in Buzz, they beat the shit out of you. I'd be the first one to get up and say, can't. And they were beating the hell out of me. But you say that enough to you. False motivation becomes a motivation after a while. So I work on the mind. And people wonder, why am I not achieving more? It's because all of us, once we achieve something, we celebrate for a long years time. And we wonder, why don't I have drive anymore? Where's it all at? If you don't develop a routine of suffering, and suffering is not like go out and kill yourself every day. It's being uncomfortable. Yeah. That keeps you hungry every day. If you live in your victories for so long and say, I'm going to go challenge myself for 30 days or for 2 weeks or run this one marathon. And it ends, I did one marathon. Okay. that's why it leaves you. It leaves you because you haven't set up the next obstacle. Obstacles is how you grow. You must continue to have friction. Friction is where growth is at. With no friction, there's no growth.
I love it.
I'm not going back. And I went back. I'm not going back. And I went back. I'm not going back. And I went back. It showed me even more of what we have as humans, if we're willing to go there and we're willing to push that extra step. And like I say, I always tell people, a lot of people, man, how do you do what you do? At the end of the day, I ask myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. That is real quitting. So a lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take 2 steps. You got to answer that question after you take the first step. But I can always take one more step. So if I choose not to, that's on me. And I got to live with that. That's how they failed in that one moment. And they can't even enjoy their life now because they're now warm. They're now warm. There's no more suffering. There's no more suffering for me either. And we're in the same boat now. But you're suffering. So we're not suffering, but you're thinking about what you could have been. I am exactly what I should have been. And that's where people start to lose it. Because now I realize that in that 1 second. I go through all that. I know how it's going to feel because I failed so many times before. Failure is the ultimate thing, man. I failed so many times before. That's why I don't look at failure anymore as failure. I look at it as my first, second, and third attempt. So that's what that's all about, man.
Well,
It's the worst pain I can't even describe the pain of that last 30 miles to anybody. No one, it's very hard.
Whole body?
Whole body. So when it ended, I'm literally dizzy going up my stairs to get to my house. I have my arms wrapped around her going up the stairs, and every flight of stairs I have to lay down because I can't stay upright for too long or I'm gonna pass out. So I finally get in the house, and when I get in the house, I'm once again on the floor. I'm in the kitchen on the floor, just laying there. I finally make it to the bathroom, into the tub. I get rolled in the tub, and she puts the water on me. I'm just laying there with the water coming on me. And what I pee out looks like Coca-Cola. And I'm laying there in the worst pain of my entire life. I'm shaking, I'm jacked up. And all I could think about was, I can't believe what I just done. Because when you get to 70 miles of a race and you felt the way I did, to me, it was humanly impossible to even think about going 30 more miles in that shape. And once you do it, what came over me when that shower hit me, and the reality hit that about people talking shit. And it became such a source of fuel that it was amazing, because I know why you hate me. You hate me because you're probably in the bed right now. You're probably an underachiever. You're probably somebody who doesn't want to do anything with your life. So I make you question everything about yourself. So I'm going to continue making you question yourself by coming out here and being even more successful. So I listen to that while I run. I sometimes played in the house about me, and she's like, why do you do this shit? It's half comical and it's half inspiring. I'm actually inspired by it. I've learned to study people before I react, because there's no successful person in the world who's in a good headspace that's going to ever attack anyone in that kind of manner. There's always going to be something wrong with them. So you got to always dive a little deeper before you get your feelings hurt. Before you get your feelings hurt by that bully at school or that boss at work, take time. Take that 1 second to pull back and study them. Because most people who are in good places, they don't care about what you're doing. They don't care about what you're doing. They don't try to destroy you. They actually will try to build you up versus destroy who you are as a person. So that's where I'm at now in life, is most people who do that, they're in a very dark place.
What do you think most people get wrong about motivation?
They think it's a permanent fix. They think it's something that is are constant. They think that maybe once I get it, I'm going to hold on to it. And that's the thing about that I was telling you, that I always talk about. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. And a lot of times you have to learn to perform without motivation. You have to learn to perform without purpose. You have to learn to perform a lot of different things. And that's what people think. They think I need to have this motivation to work out, to study, to be better. So if they don't have it, they just don't fucking do it. And that's where you fail. You have to learn to train your mind well beyond motivation. If you have motivation, that's great. That's some kindling to the fire. All it takes is a little spark, you can burn the whole forest up. But motivation, you have to learn to exist without it. You have to be your best self when you're least motivated. And that's the tricky part about all that shit. Motivation is just a word. You have to have these different things in your mind on where you want to go and know that motivation is not going to get me there. Because I'm not going to always be motivated. I believe that you have to build belief. Belief is like, there's an after school special belief where the mom says, believe in yourself, and that's all great. But there's also a built belief. And the built belief is one where you are constantly, like for me, I came from a bad place. How I build belief is through the daunting tasks I put myself through. So that's proof positive that I can. So it correlates. And that's how this piece of shit kid that I once thought I was built belief by saying, I was in 3 Hell Weeks. I went to Ranger School. I tried out for Delta Selection.
Undeniable stack of proof.
That is proof, mugger. So whenever you think you can't, the confidence comes from the thing that you built. You must build belief. You must build confidence. It can't be like, hey, I'm gonna go knock that shit out. You gotta look over here and say, I can knock that shit out. It's belief, and it's built on what you put in to yourself. So if I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You've been able to go on an audiobook in your mind. Maybe you didn't write a book, but in your mind, you were able to hear all your past traumas. You were able to listen to them. You're able to say, okay, now I can now talk to people about what I went through. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays. In their minds, kill them from moving forward. I'm ashamed of myself. Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. We are humans. But then again, if you always think that we're humans, you will always just be a human and always make the same mistakes. You must take this knowledge that you learn from all this shit is knowledge. So I'm just trying to give people that strength to go in the archives of your life. Because while you're probably up, there's probably something happened to you in your life. Go through the archives, dig it up, study it, and then use it for yourself. That's the main purpose for me right now.
You want a better life, you want to build something from scratch, be your own boss, take care of your family, inspire millions. That's beautiful. But let me ask you, can you dedicate your life to it? Because that's what it's gonna take. Goals give you direction, dedication gives you identity, and if you don't know who you are in the dark, you will never shine in the light.